What happened? Who broke the bottle?
Billy broke it.
Anna is lying.
It wasn't me.
I know that only one of them is telling the truth. Excuse me for a moment.
How can Ms. Esther figure out who broke the bottle? In this video, I am going to show you two directions to solve this kind of truth-lie logic puzzles. Reasoning based on assumption, and reasoning based on related statements. Let me explain them one by one. Reasoning based on assumption. We can assume that one of the following happened. A. One of them broke the bottle. Or B. One of them was telling the truth. In fact, we only need to choose one assumption, not both. However, I will demonstrate both situations in this video. Let's get started with the first assumption. According to the context, only one child broke the bottle. In situation 1, we can assume that Anna was the one who broke the bottle. Based on this assumption, we can deduce that both Billy and Chloe didn't break it. Then we look at what they said. Anna said, Billy broke it. But under this situation, she was the one who broke it. So she was telling a lie. Billy said, Anna was lying. So Billy was telling the truth. Chloe said, it wasn't her. She was also telling the truth. In this situation, two of them were telling the truth. It comes with a contradiction with the statement, only one of them was telling the truth. So we can conclude that this assumption is not valid. Anna didn't break the bottle. In the next situation, we can assume that Billy broke the bottle, unrelated to Anna and Chloe. Anna said, Billy broke it. Her statement is true. Billy said, Anna was lying. But Anna was telling the truth. So Billy was lying. Chloe said, it wasn't her. She was also telling the truth. In this situation, both Anna and Chloe were telling the truth. Once again, this contradicts the statement that only one of them was telling the truth. So we can conclude that this assumption is not valid. Billy didn't break the bottle. At this moment, we can easily conclude that Chloe was the one who broke the bottle. But we can still go through the last situation to see what happens. We assume that Chloe broke the bottle. Anna said, Billy broke it. Her statement is wrong. She was lying. Billy said, Anna was lying. He is right in telling the truth. Chloe said, it wasn't her. Under this assumption, she was the one who broke it. So she was lying. We can see one truth and two lies among their statements, which fulfills the statement, only one of them was telling the truth. After examining each assumption individually, we can determine that two of the assumptions are not valid, while one assumption remains valid. In conclusion, Chloe was the one who broke the bottle. Now, we are going to go through the same question with another type of assumption, assuming that one of them was telling the truth. We first assume that Anna was telling the truth. Based on the statement that only one of them was telling the truth, it follows that both Billy and Chloe were lying in this case. Now, let's examine their statements individually. Anna said, Billy broke it. Assuming Anna was telling the truth, it implies that Billy was the one who broke it. Billy claimed that Anna was lying, but his statement was false. It means Anna didn't lie. This suggests that Anna was indeed telling the truth. Thus, there is no contradiction with the initial assumption. Chloe said it wasn't her. But she was lying too. It implies that she was the one who broke the bottle. Under the assumption that Anna was telling the truth, it would imply that both Billy and Chloe broke the bottle. However, considering the context where only one child broke the bottle, there is a contradiction. Therefore, the assumption cannot be valid, and it can be concluded that Anna was lying. Moving forward, let's consider the assumption that Billy was telling the truth while the others were lying. Based on Anna's false claim, we can deduce that Billy did not break the bottle. Billy's true statement that Anna was lying aligns with the situation. Chloe's false statement denying her involvement implies that she was the one who broke the bottle. After carefully considering all the statements, we find no contradictions. Thus, we can conclude that Billy was indeed telling the truth, and Chloe was the one who broke the bottle. Even though we have already arrived at the correct answer, we will still explore the last assumption together to better understand the contradictions that arise when it is not valid. Let's proceed with the assumption that Chloe was telling the truth while Billy and Anna were lying. Again, considering Anna's false claim, we can deduce that Billy did not break the bottle. Billy's false statement accusing Anna of lying suggests that Anna was, in fact, telling the truth, leading to a contradiction. On the other hand, Chloe's true statement indicates that she didn't break the bottle. Upon analyzing all the statements they made, a contradiction becomes evident. Therefore, the assumption is deemed invalid, and it can be concluded that Chloe was lying. Chloe's false statement, claiming that it wasn't her, implies that she was actually the one who broke the bottle. This assumption can still lead us to the correct answer. In fact, if you are fortunate, you may not need to explore all assumptions when time is limited, such as in a math Olympiad competition. After continuous assumptions, we will eventually find the answer. However, going through each assumption can be time-consuming. Is there a faster way to find the answer? Let me introduce another problem-solving direction, reasoning based on related statements. Under certain conditions, when there are statements referring to the same matter, this approach can be adopted. Of course, those statements can either be contradictory or consistent. So, I will explain the two scenarios separately. Let's begin by considering an example that involves statements with contradictions first. Miss Esther was aware that one of them had broken a bottle again. This time, both Anna and Billy said,
It wasn't me.
However, Chloe pointed at Billy and said,
It was Billy.
Again, there was a witness present who could confirm that only one of them was telling the truth. So, who broke the bottle? In this case, if you examine their statements individually, you will notice that only Chloe provided a different statement, accusing Billy of breaking the bottle. Meanwhile, Billy denied his involvement. This creates a contradiction between their claims. It is not possible for both of them to be telling the truth or both be lying. Because if Chloe's statement is true, it means Billy broke the bottle. On the other hand, if Billy's statement is true, it means he did not break the bottle, thereby rendering Chloe's statement false. Right this moment we haven't determined the truthfulness of Billy's and Chloe's statements separately, but we can be certain that one statement is true while the other is a lie. There is no other possibility. According to the statement that only one of them was telling the truth, the one telling the truth must be either Billy or Chloe. Therefore, we can conclude that Anna must be lying. And now we have the answer. Anna was the one who broke the bottle. Now I'm going to alter the dialogue between Anna, Billy, and Chloe to create a new example for explaining the last method in this video. Analyze consistent statements. Anna said,
Billy didn't break it.
Both Billy and Chloe said.
It wasn't me.
Again, only one of them was telling the truth. So, who broke the bottle? This time, Anna's statement stood out as different from the others. She pointed out that Billy didn't break the bottle, which aligned with Billy's statement. Their statements are consistent, narrating the same occurrence. In this situation, there are only two possibilities. Either both Anna and Billy are telling the truth, or they are both lying. Since only one statement can be correct, it is evident that Anna and Billy cannot both be telling the truth. Therefore, they must both be lying, while Chloe was the one telling the truth. Regardless of whether we consider Anna's or Billy's false statement, we can conclude that Billy was the one who broke the bottle. Here is a conclusive summary covering all 4 techniques we've discussed to solve truth-lie logic puzzles in this video. 1. Assume someone performs a certain action. 2. Assume someone is telling the truth. 3. Analyze contradictory statements. 4. Analyze consistent statements. These methods can be applied in different problems, and the choice depends on the situation to determine which one is more suitable. Before the end of this video, I'm going to show you one last example that doesn't involve a witness statement. But we can apply the same problem-solving approach. This type of example is also commonly encountered in different math Olympiad competitions. One day, Anna, Billy, and Chloe met. Here is their conversation.
Billy is lying.
Chloe is lying.
Anna and Billy are lying.
So, can you figure out whether each of them was telling the truth or lying? First, let's make an assumption that Anna was telling the truth. According to Anna's statement, Billy was lying. If Billy was lying, his claim that Chloe was lying would be a false statement. It implies that Chloe was telling the truth. Chloe stated that Anna and Billy were lying. This creates a contradiction with our initial assumption that Anna was truthful. Thus, the assumption is deemed invalid, and we can conclude that Anna was lying. Consequently, this suggests that Billy was actually telling the truth. Furthermore, Billy's statement indicated that Chloe was lying. Therefore, we can conclude that only Billy was telling the truth, while both Anna and Chloe were lying. I will be producing a series of videos in the future, focusing on this topic and discussing questions from Math Olympiad competitions. If you are interested, please subscribe to our channel. I am Mr. Charles from Math Puzzle Channel. See you later.